Good morning, everybody. Let's start our day with the word of prayer. Father, thank you for each one of our children. Thank you for your love for us. Thank you for the big person you've given us today to help. Help the children to listen, help them to learn, help them to obey. We ask in Jesus' name, amen. Let's start with our verses. Genesis 1:1. How about everybody stand up? Stand up. And say it with me, conmigo, ready? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Okay, John 1:3. All things were made by him. Ephesians 6:1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Okay, you sit down. Sit down. Ready? Children, obey. Children, obey your parents in the Lord. Your parents in the Lord. Children, obey. Children, obey. For this is right. For this is right. Oh, children, obey your parents in the Lord. Children, obey. For this is right. Children, obey. Children, obey, for this is right. Ephesians 4:32, be ye kind one to another. This week's verse is found in Psalm 139, verse 14. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Look at all those children. They're all different, aren't they? All children are different, and God makes each one of us extra special. Okay, let's say our verse 3 times, and then we can have our story. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. 2 more times, please. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. 1 more time. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Let's sing our song, okay? I will praise thee, I will praise thee, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I will praise thee, I will praise thee, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Remember, we talked yesterday about a man by the name of Jacob, who had 12 boys and 1 girl. And his favorite son was Joseph, son number 11. And he gave him a special coat to show that when his daddy died, he would be head of the family and head of the family business. Joseph was only 17 years old at the time. 17. Wow. But his daddy had already decided. He was smart. He used his brain, and whatever his daddy told him, he thought about it and he learned. He learned his math. He learned different languages. He was very smart. His daddy was very smart too. And so, but he just said, I want to learn. And so his dad just taught him. He spent a lot of time with his dad. His brothers would take care of the animals, but a lot of times he stayed with his dad and learned the family business. They had animals. They had camels and donkeys and sheep and cows and goats and probably some other ones too. Remember, horses. They had all these animals and they sold them. They had the best ones all around and everybody wanted to buy theirs. Well, one day, the brothers were all far from home, taking care of the animals. The grass where they lived had all been eaten by the animals. So they moved on down. They were far away, and they didn't come home at night. They just slept out in their tents out in that area. But they were in an area where the people there didn't like the brothers, because they had caused some trouble. Two of his brothers had caused trouble. And Papa Jacob was he was concerned. Wanted to make sure everything was going okay there. So he said, Joseph, I want you to go up to Shechem, find out how your brothers are doing. I'm on my way. I'm already gone. So he went. He had to go up over the mountains and long journey. But as he came, we forgot a part before that. We forgot the part about the dreams he had. 2 dreams. One dream he had, the boys were working in the field. They were cutting the wheat. And after they cut the wheat off the top, the grain off the top, they would take the stalks, and they would tie them in bunches. And Joseph said, I had a dream that my stalk stood straight up, and everybody else's bowed down to me. And his dad said, are you saying your brothers are going to bow down to you? I don't know, just the dream I had. And then later he had another dream. He dreamed that the sun, the moon, and 11 stars all bowed down to him. And his dad said, are you saying that your mama and I and your brothers are going to bow down to you? And don't know what it means. And that made his brothers really jealous. They didn't like him. They didn't like him because he was daddy's favorite. They didn't like him because when they did bad things, he told their daddy. And they didn't like him about those dreams. So anyway, Joseph went off to find out how his brothers were doing. His brothers saw him a long way off because of his colorful coat. And when they saw him, they got really angry. Ew, here's that snotty little boy coming to find out what we're doing. Let's kill him and be done with him forever. And the oldest brother, Reuben, said, no, that's not a good idea. We'll just put him in a hole, put him down in a pit, and be done with it. We can't kill our brother. We'll just put him in a pit. Scare him. Well, Reuben went off to take care of the animals, and Joseph came to meet his brothers to find out how they're doing. And they started harassing him. And then they took him, they grabbed hold of him, and they put him in a pit, a deep, deep hole. And they sat down to eat their lunch. Joseph didn't like it. He was 17 years old, but he didn't like snakes, and he didn't like spiders. And he said, hey guys, come on, let me out. Okay, joke's over. They just ignored him. It was dark down there. He couldn't see, and he didn't know what was in the bottom, but he could hear the snakes. He could feel the snakes. He didn't like that. While the boys were eating, they looked up, and they saw some camels coming. And they realized it was their cousins, the Ishmaelites. And they were traders. They were heading from way far up north. They were going to the land of Egypt to sell things, to trade things. And they thought, hey, why should we kill Joseph? We can sell him as a slave and make some money. Good. So that's what they did. The people came and said, hey, you want to buy a slave? We don't need him anymore. He's really smart. He can read. He can do lots of stuff. You can get good money for him. Well, so they talked about him, and they looked him over, looked at his teeth. Teeth looked healthy. Brushes his teeth good. Yeah, it's kind of dirty, but yeah, we'll take him. They gave the brothers 30 pieces of silver for their brother. And off they went down to the land of Egypt. Well, Brother Reuben came back and said, hey, where's Joseph? Oh, we sold him to the Ishmaelites. You did what? Yeah, we sold him. Might as well make some money off of him. What? What were you thinking? What is Dad going to say when he finds out Joseph's missing? What were you thinking? They weren't. They didn't think. They didn't stop to think about what would happen. They thought, ooh, yeah, Dad'll be upset, won't he? Uh-huh. Reuben said, yeah, he'll probably die. He'll be so sad. So what the boys did was they got a little goat, killed the little goat, took its blood, ripped up Joseph's coat, put the blood over it so it looked like a lion got him or something. And then they took it to their dad. They said, Dad, we found this coat. Does this belong to your son? We thought it might be, but it's kind of hard to tell. Jacob knew that coat. That was the special coat he had given to his beloved son, so that he to show that respect for his son and that he would be this. Joseph was not fooled. I mean, Jacob, Poppy wasn't fooled. He knew the brothers had done that. He knew the brothers had done that, and it hurt him that his son was gone. It hurt him that his boys had killed the brother. And from that time on, Jacob was always crying. Oh, no, all the time, but he was always sad after that. He never smiled. Nothing made him happy. He always went around slow and sad. In fact, one of the boys, it just hurt him so badly to see his father. He moved away from home. He could not stand the guilt for what he had done. Meanwhile, Joseph was taken down to Egypt, sold as a slave, but because he was so smart, he was sold and given a very important job. He was sold to the head of the army. And shortly, he became the chief servant for the head of the army. And what he did was he decided what things should be planted in the fields, when they should be planted, what should be sold, who to sell it to. He was head of this big, big farm that they had. And he was so important that his boss didn't even know what was in his house. He didn't take care of anything. He just trusted Joseph. So here's smart Joseph buying and selling and doing this and taking care of all the servants. Potiphar was the man, his boss, had a wife. And Mrs. Potiphar saw Joseph that he was very handsome and very kind, and everybody respected him. And she wanted him for her boyfriend. She did. Oh, Joseph, be my boyfriend. No. Oh, Joseph, I love you. Oh, Joseph, you're so cute. Oh, Joseph. He stayed away from her. He did. Didn't want to have a deal. Well, one day there was a fiesta. And everybody went to the fiesta, except for Joseph. He stayed back to do work. It was a fiesta for their gods, and he was a false gods. He wasn't going to worship idols. And Mrs. Potiphar stayed home too. And while all the servants were gone, she went to Joseph and she started hugging him and kissing him. Oh, Joseph, I love you, be my boyfriend, and kissing him. He said, no, Potiphar, Mr. Potiphar, put me in charge of everything, but you are not mine. I cannot do this. And he ran away from her. And he just ran away. And he ran away and he had to wiggle out of his clothes. And she took his coat. And then she got so angry with him. And she said, help, help, help. Oh, he tried to hurt me. He tried to hurt. Lie. Before she said, oh, I love him. Now he didn't, because he didn't want to be her boyfriend. When Mr. Potiphar came home that day, she told a lie, a whopping lie. She told a big story about Joseph, said that he tried to hurt her and that she screamed for help and he ran away and left his coat. Mr. Potiphar was angry and he put Joseph in jail. Now the other servants Some of them were jealous of Joseph. They were glad he was out of there because they didn't like him. But they all knew that Mrs. Potiphar had lied. They knew that because they saw her. They saw what she did. They saw. But they couldn't tell. Because they couldn't tell their boss that his wife was a big liar. So there was Joseph in jail. In jail. He didn't deserve to be there. He didn't deserve to be a slave. Where was God? Well, we'll find out tomorrow. What?